And yes, I'm here too. How's it going, freakazoids? That well, huh? Jeez. Why? Why, man? Yeah, the minibus dipshit came out with another video today. We are all Satanists, according to him. I think everybody should forward the shit that he says to Indiana State Police. Just so they know who they're dealing with and don't keep giving the guy any interviews. He tricks them into interviews. They don't know who the hell they're talking to. It's an embarrassment. Absolute embarrassment. Hey, good to see you too. Good morning. So in our ongoing series on the unsolved cases in different states, tonight we're doing Delaware. I just looked at Delaware and I go, have I ever even heard of a case in Delaware? I mean, who even talks about Delaware? Well, just like every other state, there's killers there too, and unsolved cases. Yeah, it's wild too, because there seems to be like this pattern, a similarity in some of these. So I'm trying to figure out if there's some kind of a killer in that area. Yeah, and that was wild. I mean, he literally is crazy. He even says he's crazy in there, in his video. And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. You're exactly right. An absolute whack job. Yeah, I still have the Ugg boots. They're actually knee-high ones. They're really great for the winter, but the sole has come off, so I've got to glue it back on. It's been so many years. They're, let's see, 20... Hell, my Ugg boots are 39 years old, I think. Something like that. Jesus. That's wild. Didn't even think about it like that. Yeah, so it's crazy in Delaware. Let's see. I was thinking of getting right to it, but also I did want to say that there seems to be some movement in the case of Kendrick Johnson. Okay, but we'll do that after we go through this whole thing. The Delaware cases, maybe right at the end. All right? So I am going to switch screens now, and you can't see me or Blue. So good. All right, so I'm just going to go down in numerical order. Well, not really numerical order, but the order that I have the folders set up. You guys ready? Let me know. All right, here we go. So the first case is Lynette Mills, November 18th, 1996. So here we go. Delmar woman shot dead. This one's just crazy as hell. I don't know what the hell's going on. Seems a little bit suspicious though, but listen. 3 masked gunmen who burst into a house trailer early Tuesday and fatally shot pregnant woman remained at large Tuesday night. Lynette R. Mills, 26, was shot in the abdomen. So the person tried to kill the baby, if you ask me. If you shoot her, right in the abdomen and she's pregnant. Shot in the abdomen at about 12:15 a.m., so really late at night, really early morning, as she lay in her bed with her 16-month-old son. So she had her 16-month-old child sitting next to her. Thanks, Lanky Tor. How the hell's it going? Wait, heart, shark.
I love my freak family. Heart suit, shark, shark, shark.
That almost sounded like a poem of some sort. All right. So she had her 16-month-old son next to her side, the toddler, and 3 other children in the home. So there was 3 other children in the home at the same time too. And it was during a robbery and assault where the 3 other kids were uninjured, and also not the 16-month-old. State police said 3 men in their dark clothing and ski masks burst into the residence shortly after midnight as Mills, who was 3 months pregnant, and her 21-year-old boyfriend, Antonio W. Bam West, lay in their bed. So they both lay in their bed. 3 men stood around my bed talking about, "We want some money," West said. West gave them some, but they struck him and dragged him out of the bed into the living room, where he said 2 of the men beat him. As he stood outside the home Tuesday night, West said he couldn't remember where he was when Mills was shot. See, this guy, something seems really fishy about this whole situation here. He said he had no idea why anyone would kill his girlfriend of 2 years. Police said the 3 men fled with an undetermined amount of cash into the woods behind the row of mobile homes. A police search involving Maryland and Delaware State Police and Delmar Police turned up nothing, but search was called off late Tuesday. Lewis said the 3 suspects are black males, each about 6 feet tall. One was armed with a shotgun, the other 2 with handguns. He said West is not considered a suspect. It was the 3rd deadly home invasion robbery in the state in the past 2 months. It just seems so odd that they would leave him alive and then kill a woman on the bed with, who's pregnant, and then shoot her right in the abdomen. It seems like somebody who wanted the child dead. But at the same time, they did rob the place. It was the 3rd deadly home invasion robbery in the state. However, Lewis said the suspects may be the same trio involved in a similar break-in Sunday east of Seaford. In that incident, an 8-year-old opened the door at 2 a.m. to 3 black men who also wore masks and dressed in dark clothing. So maybe, could just totally be legit. It's just so bizarre that they would kill her. Like, what would be the point of that? The men entered and ransacked the Middle Court Circle house, but no one was injured because the 3 men have not been captured. Police are withholding the name of the 27-year-old woman who was in the house at the time. Mills was pronounced dead at Peninsula Medical Center. The 3 children who were in the house are Mills' 7-year-old son and 5-year-old daughter from a previous relationship and her 5-year-old niece. Lewis said the children were left in the custody of Mills' mother, Patricia Mills. She declined to comment. Let's see. Many stunned neighbors asked each other why anyone would want to kill Mills. "I couldn't tell you why," said neighbor Deborah Carson, 42. "They never bothered anybody." Several neighbors who would not identify themselves as they heard 2 shots early in the morning, but paid little attention until police arrived. "I heard a first shot and I didn't think of it because you hear that often," one woman said. Lewis said police suspect more than 1 shot was fired and are looking for more bullet casings. Mills' next-door neighbor, Karen Craven, 25, said there is always a lot of traffic over there, lots of cars every other day, and they're in there for about 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's just weird how you have a case where the boyfriend's taken out to the living room and he's not killed, but they go in and kill the pregnant woman. Does that make any sense to anybody? There, hold on 1 minute. I was so busy getting all the stuff ready for the show that I didn't go get myself a drink. I don't mean like a drink. I mean Gatorade. So hold on a second. All right, I'm back. I've got my Gatorade now. Thank God. Yeah, so who knows what happened here, but it just seems so weird. Normally it's the guy that's killed, right? So it almost seems like somebody wanted to kill that child. I mean, you shot her in the abdomen too. And let's see if we've got any. Yeah, so I couldn't. There wasn't an exact address or anything. It just said a mobile home on this Highway 54 here, or Delmar Road actually. And I was looking at this one map that they had. It just sort of was one of those drawing maps. So I don't know. It could be. This is what it looks like basically in the area. I was coming by here, and that looks like maybe was the mobile home. Who knows? I mean, it's interesting that right where on the map there's this one mobile home there, but this is from 1996, so who knows? That looks pretty old, though, doesn't it? So it very easily could have been the spot. All right, so that's that case. That was just one of them. I'm just kind of randomly picked through them. So this one is one that's unsolved, the case of Lynette Mills, and from 1996. And I mean, how creepy would that be to be the 16-month-old child where your whole life you're going to know that you were laying right next to your mom when some random masked people came in and just killed her. Yeah. What happened in there? So many hearts in the chat. Yeah, so they were trying to link this killing to those other break-ins. That's what that article is about. But I'm going to move on to the next case now. I bet you this case has never been talked about anywhere since that time. There was any articles later or anything. It's kind of sad. A lot of these cases just disappear, and some barbarian whack job gets to live on forever, just killing and having a good old time. All right, this one is Lena Lorraine Thomas. This next case here. Alright, and we're going to go back. Alright. So, farmer discovers body of slain Dover woman in field. See, these are where there's a whole bunch that sound like this one. The partially nude body of a Dover woman was discovered by a farmer Sunday afternoon as he worked in a field near Kent 364, about 2 miles east of Magnolia, State Police said. So I have it like this. Okay, now look at, this is the deal here. So this is what it looks like now. Okay? But it said in a field, and I was like, well, shit, how could there be a field, right? But if you go back to 1992, that's all it was. So I'm just thinking it's right around in this area, but if you go to Street View, it sure as hell isn't going to look like that. It's going to be houses on both sides and looks just like a neighborhood. But it didn't look like that before, even in let's see, what do we got here? 1992. And this case here happened in 1990. So I think June 10th-ish in 1990. So this shot you're looking at here is just 2 years later, year and a half. So this is what it looked like. Absolutely looked just like that. So the apparent homicide victim was identified as Lena L. Thomas, 27, of the 100 block of Willis Road. So let's see, 100 Willis Road. So if you live right in this area here. Of course, now it's a different time, but right in this area, maybe even in an apartment over here. I don't know. It doesn't give specifics. When you get back in the 70s, they'll tell you, which bedroom they lived in and the apartment number. I mean, it was like they gave out everything. 100 block Willis Road, said State Police spokesman Corporal David L. Baylor. Thomas' husband called Dover police Saturday to report his wife missing. So this article here is let's see. Well, it doesn't actually. Let's see if it says it over here. It's from 6/12/1990. So maybe just a couple days prior. Thomas' husband called Dover police Saturday to report his wife missing after she failed to return from an outing Friday. Her husband, Airman First Class Gerald Thomas, who was stationed at Dover Air Force Base, said he and his wife would have celebrated their second wedding anniversary this Saturday. She was a very easy person to get along with, said Thomas, 24. She made friends easily and enjoyed being with people. Thomas said his wife was visiting a friend Friday night while he was home with the couple's 2 children. I woke up the next day and she wasn't home. That's a little weird too. It's like, wouldn't you kind of just wait up, or would you sleep all the way to the next day? I called friends and they didn't know where she was. Then I went to the police. I mean, there's probably nothing to it, but I don't think I could even fall asleep if, like, my wife wasn't home. If she's supposed to be home, I'd kind of just stay awake until she made it home. I wouldn't just have a good night's sleep. The farmer, whose name is being withheld by police, found Thomas's body shortly after 4:30 p.m., Baylor said. The state medical examiner's office is investigating. Thomas said he and his family are originally from Rolla, Missouri, I think, and have been in Dover for 2 years. Thomas said his wife worked at Harry Louis Laundry. So she worked at a laundromat and dry cleaning. State police are looking for the victim's car, a 1976 white over yellow 2-door Ford Elite with Delaware tag 400712. Thomas is survived by her husband and 2 children. All right. So then, that was June 12th, and then about 1 month later, on July 11th, woman's car found. The vehicle, belonging to a Dover woman whose body was found dumped in a field last month, was discovered Tuesday afternoon, officials said. People driving along Point Road noticed the 1976 Ford Elite in a woods and notified city police, who notified state police. Woods and notified city police, who then notified state police, said state police spokesman Corporal Rick Chamberlain. The car was spotted at 1:30 p.m., 4 miles from where Lena L. Thomas was found in a field near Kent 364. There have been no arrests in the case, Chamberlain said. So let me see if I got this map. Okay, yeah. So it was off this road here, and it said a wooded area. So if you look back in this time frame, there's only a couple spots it could be. This spot right here, or this spot right here. Now I think if you go into current time, well, it looks like there's still woods there. So, you know what? That's a worthwhile place just to drop down and take a look. But it's right off this road. So it could have been this wooded area here. But, you know, I think it's probably more likely it's the wooded area at the end. And they did say 4 miles, right? So let's see if I take this. So that's 5.36, but, you know, they don't really, when they give out stuff like that, they just throw out garbage. Hey, yeah, about 4 miles. They're not really getting accurate when they say that. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen one where it's really close. Well, that road actually doesn't, you'd have to actually pull off and drive down that secluded road there. So it's probably more likely that first section back there, because it was just off this road. So here's another article that came out about 6 months later, the next year in January. Lena L. Thomas and her husband Gerald would have celebrated their second wedding anniversary last June 16th. Instead, a week before that special date, Gerald Thomas was on the phone with Dover police reporting his 27-year-old wife missing. While he stayed home with the couple's 2 children the night of Friday, June 8th. Gerald Thomas, 24, an enlisted man at Dover Air Force Base, told police he awoke Saturday morning to find his wife had never returned home. Her friends told him they hadn't seen her since she left their Dover area home the previous night. So she got in her car and drove home from that party or whatever, that get-together she was at, but never made it home. Sunday, a farmer working in his field just north of Magnolia found the young woman's body. She had been stabbed to death, and her body apparently dumped there. State police detectives have traced Lena Thomas's movements that Friday night, and they think they have a good idea of what happened. They also think the case will be solved. Well, yeah, that was 1990, okay? It's been 29 years. It's just a matter of time, said State Police Captain Paul R. Kane. We're still awaiting results from the FBI, whose lab is analyzing evidence, Kane said. We're anticipating some luck with the evidence in the case. The night Thomas disappeared, Kane said she was visiting a female friend when other friends dropped by. Okay, so she was visiting a female friend, and then other friends dropped by. Kane said the friends told police that late that night, Thomas and one of the male visitors left the house saying they were going elsewhere in the Dover area to buy marijuana. They apparently never returned. Thomas's car, well, what happened to the other friend, though? Thomas's car was found about a month after her death, police said. All the locations police are interested in, Thomas Willis Road, home, the house where she was last seen alive, the farmer's field, and the spot where the car was found are within a few miles of each other. 4 detectives, let's see, okay, not 4 like the number 4, but for detectives, there was an obvious starting point, Kane said. The last person who was seen with is the first person we interviewed. So that person is still alive. The person that she left the house with to go buy marijuana, they never returned back to the party, and somehow he's still alive walking around. See, that definitely has to be something. I mean, my God, that sounds a lot like, well, there's a few other cases that it sounds like. The last person who was seen with the first person is the first person we interviewed, he said. And in this case, we also got a lot of information about her from her co-workers at a Dover laundry. Detectives have zeroed in on a suspect, Kane said, and they believe that focus combined with physical evidence will ultimately solve the case. Shortly after his wife's death, Gerald Thomas described her as a sociable, easygoing person, someone with plenty of friends and no enemies. He and the 2 children have since left Delaware. Yeah, I'd probably get the hell out of there myself. And this is the... And if anybody has any information, call 302-741-2730. Well, I guess they actually didn't make the arrest, just like you promised. Boy, it's going to be really simple. Well, now it's 29 years later, okay? But the guy that left with her, how could he not have something to do with it? I mean, they never even went back to the party. Why is that? So they both went off to buy pot. Somehow he goes somewhere and gets somewhere. He ends up somewhere. But she ends up stabbed to death. And he's alive, and the car is found 4 miles from where she was found. So doesn't it almost just seem like, well, gosh, the guy that was with her buying the pot killed her for some reason and then drove himself somewhere. I'd like to know where he lives. It's insane. But see, it's crazy that some of these cases aren't solved out there. You got these... It just seems like... A lot of times, though, there's enough evidence to prosecute somebody, but the prosecutor always, a lot of times will go, well, we just don't have enough. No, you do. You do have enough sometimes. Sometimes really good circumstantial evidence is powerful. It's better than... See, here's what I don't like. You didn't charge him. And you're just waiting for that one piece of evidence to get them. But yet you wait 30 years and they get to live a full life, have kids, do everything. And they're almost at retirement age now. And then you go, oh, we finally got it. So why not at least try it back then? And if you have a mistrial or something like that, well, you just keep it hanging over their head. They're not exonerated. You can try them again at some point. But give it a shot. Every jury isn't going to say, oh, they're innocent in some of these cases. Right, yeah, that's right, Cairo. They don't want to have a loss. They like to prosecute winnable, slam dunk cases. And I think that's ridiculous. How about you work hard a little bit, Put a little effort in there. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to another case now. We got 5 of them, actually. Now, this one here is it's a different type of, it's an unsolved case, but at the same time, I don't really care that much. I mean, you'll understand why. it's just interesting. So let's see. Let me go to this one. This is a case of Michael Tchaikovsky, November 20th, 2008. So this isn't that long ago. It's 11 years ago. All right, so there was a fatal stabbing investigated. State police were investigating a homicide after the body of a 25-year-old Delaware man was found lying on the side of a two-lane country road east of Bridgeville on Saturday morning. At about 9:20 a.m., a passing motorist spotted the body near the west side of Apple Tree Road, south of Oak Road. Yeah, and I think it's right in this area right here. That's Oak Road, and well, actually, this is the Apple Tree Road that they were talking about. So somewhere along this road is where he was found. See how it's just always kind of similar like that? These rural areas, and then a body just kind of dumped. The man had multiple stab wounds to his upper body, police said. Detectives determined the man's identity. Let's see, hold on. Whitmarsh said, but they do not yet know when the stabbing occurred or the motive. The man's name has not been released pending notification of his family. Police have not yet found the man's silver 2001 Chrysler PT Cruiser. The car bears temporary Delaware tags, and police ask anyone who spots the vehicle to call 911. All right. So that was on December 21st, 2008, that article. Now this one's from the 22nd. Delaware State Police early Sunday identified a homicide victim whose body was found along a two-lane country road east of Bridgeville on Saturday. Police said the victim, Michael Joseph Tchaikovsky, 25, of Newark, also had ties to the Georgetown area. Hey, thanks, Claudia Neubauer. Yeah, I was hoping everybody liked these old cases. But apparently, I don't know what the deal is sometimes. Let's see. Oh my God, I drive down that road all the time. All right, cool. Let's see. At about 9:20 a.m., a passing motorist spotted the body near the west side of Apple Tree Road, south of Oak Road. State Police Corporal Jeffrey C. Whitmarsh said. Claudia Neubauer. Yeah, I mean, I love looking into them. I mean, they're sad, but it's interesting. I guess we're all devil worshippers, though, on this channel, so yes.
Love the cold cases, beaming face with smiling eyes, smiling face with heart eyes, starstruck.
You know what's weird about Minibus Dipshit is he seems like he's a smart person, like his brain, but he's also a clueless idiot, okay? He comes up with stuff that's so ludicrous, and I'm wondering why people actually spend a minute like listening and going, wow, and then put a comment in there. Like, why spend a moment commenting in his comment section with the garbage that he puts out there? Okay? I'm just reading a comment somebody made up a minute ago, so maybe remember that. Yeah, I mean, he literally, well, I think it's just a delusional is a better term. Okay? He's like a James Jones. You know what's funny is he calls like our channel a cult, and he went through this whole thing about, hey, yeah, if you dissent, then he goes through this whole rigmarole. Okay, but in reality, that's exactly what he is. I mean, he literally sells people bullshit. Okay, and you guys should actually say that. Instead of going over there, well, I like to watch them all and I make good comments. Yay. Screw that crap. Okay? Be honest out there. because that shit is absolutely garbage. All right. All right. Anyways, at about 9:20 a.m., passing motorists spotted the body near the west side of Apple Tree Road. So this is Apple Tree Road. So yeah, it would have been on the left side like this. Look what it looks like. It's just pure, just fields, nothing. Oh, and that kind of makes sense the way they described it, because it was past. I wonder why that's blurred out right there. Huh. Must have thought that was a face. So even Google looked at that and said, "Oh my God, it's a face." I wonder if you went down this road, if there would be one of those signs. Could be. But let's see. Apple Tree Road, south of Oak Tree State. Let's see. The body was just past a gully and short brush, he said. So a gully. Would you consider that a gully, like how it drops like that? I don't know if I would. Thanks, Sooner History. Yeah, you don't want to have heard of him. Okay, he's an embarrassment. He tricks law enforcement. Oh yeah, I'm an investigator. Everybody, I'm and then he calls him up and then he slams on him in other videos. It's ridiculous. But what he really hopes so is because Carter's a religious guy, so he's hoping that all of his devil worshipping bullshit that he sells. See, I told you guys this a long time ago. Minibus dipshit is trying to create this epic sort of battle between good and evil, and instead of focusing in on what really matters, the case, the bridge guy, who the hell he is, and trying to get it solved and putting out as much information as you can just on that, he's trying to make the people who cover the case into this Lord of the Rings sort of thing. Okay? You know, we're apparently the orcs, and just came down off of Mount Doom, and he is from the Shire, boy. He is one of the hobbits, and boy, they're going to solve the whole thing, and they're going to put down the evil. It's just so ludicrous the way he talks. It's actually kind of freaky, to be honest with you. Okay, so this guy seems like he's a race car driver too, because I've seen pictures. Let me see if I can. Okay, no, he's not in that one. So they don't know when the stabbing occurred, and his 2001 Chrysler PT Cruiser was not at the scene, but police found it later at the Cannon Storage Center in Bridgeville. Okay, so they did find his vehicle, right? So he went missing, then they found him, but they hadn't found his vehicle. And so this is, let me get this next article here. His body was found in a field off Appleby Tree Road near Bridgeville on December 20th, 2008. His car was found that evening on fire at a storage center. Did I think that's a little bit weird? So he was killed, dumped off that road. And so we'll just get up in the air here. So we know he was found off the side of the road right there. But his car was found, let's see, right there. So he was found right there. Let's get a measurement just in terms of how far it is. About 5 miles. And his car was found burning at this storage facility right here. And that same evening. So he was found in the AM, and then they found a burning car that evening. So you kind of wonder if they had heard, oh my God, they found his body. Let's hurry up and burn it. Because they would have burned it earlier in the day, you would think, right? Thanks, Lori Staggs.
I love how you tell it like it is. Gray. Thanks for that thumbs up. 2 hearts. Winking face with tongue.
Thank you.
And we are going up Mount Doom! Mini bus!
That's what we got to do. Anytime I refer to that clown, just do that. He's such a liar, too. You know, what's sad is he always thinks he comes up with new stuff, and we've talked about it all a million times. You know, like, oh, look at this, look at this interview with Jerry Holman, man. Wow. Yeah, well, I've told everybody to watch it. I've played it on my show twice, the 26-minute long one or whatever. It's interesting. But don't pretend that you've discovered it. Okay? Because it didn't happen. I mean, what I can tell, though, is that he watches this show and then he takes ideas that I bring up. Like the other day I said, you know, it'd be funny is if I did a fake phone call and I pretended I was somebody and I did the other voice, and the next day he made a video doing that. Don't you think that's just ludicrous? I mean, he doesn't really have an original thought in his mind. Minibus dipshit, okay? That's who. Look him up. Great channel, man. Just fantastic. Wonderful stuff. You know, just go ask the East Area rapist victims what they think of that guy. Yeah. All right. Let's see. So that was, I think there's another article now in 2012. There was another, that was this right here, actually, which is amazing. That's 4 years later. This was just it was a whole list of different cases they wanted to solve, and this is one of the ones that came up in that one. But one of the things that was interesting about this case to me was when I was looking him up, it turns out that Michael Tchaikovsky is a sex offender. So that's why I said earlier, I'm not like, oh my God, let's hurry up and solve it. But here's a newspaper clipping from 7 years before he went missing. An 18-year-old registered sex offender, because he had been arrested for soliciting sex with somebody under the age of 16 before, and a male as well. So registered sex offender, was registered Monday and charged with sexual solicitation of a child, Newcastle County Police said. Michael Tchaikovsky of the unit block of Stardust Drive, Glasgow, was arrested after the 16-year-old boy told his parents about the alleged incident. According to police, Tchaikovsky approached the boy Sunday in the bathroom of a club in Cleveland Heights, near Wilmington. Police said Tchaikovsky solicited the boy in a sexual manner, and the boy refused and left the bathroom. Tchaikovsky posted $5,000 secure bail. So I actually have this theory that maybe one of either this kid or the one before, when they were in their 20s, they took out revenge on this guy. Now they one of them killed him out of revenge, and it might have even been the one before, because this kid. Well, here's the deal here. So this 16-year-old kid right here, who was propositioned, maybe people found out about it and he was ridiculed in school, or the one before that he actually was charged on, because he wasn't charged in this case. I don't think he got a sentence on it. But the one that he was already a registered sex offender. See right here, it says Tchaikovsky was convicted in 1998 of first-degree unlawful sexual intercourse with a person under the age of 16. But how old is he, though? I mean, that doesn't even... Hold on. Let me look at something here. So that's him right there. I don't know if you can see that. But he's 30. He would be 36 now. So he was 83 and then 98. So he was only 16 himself, though. So why would that? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Hey, you see, that's kind of strange. Conviction date. See, it's even in here, 1998, but he was born 83. So that makes him, he wasn't even 16 yet himself. He was 15, right? Convicted in 1998 of first-degree unlawful sexual intercourse with a person under the age of 16. Well, he's under the age of 16. That doesn't make any sense. No, but that was a previous charge, Mag. Up here it says an 18-year-old registered sex offender was arrested Monday and charged with sexual solicitation of a child, and that child was 16 years old, but he was 18, and that was a boy. See, I'm not really into the age thing when it's that close like that. So this is probably like technical stuff, this 18 and the 16-year-old. This one down here is weird where it says Tchaikovsky was convicted in 1998 of first-degree unlawful sexual intercourse with a person under the age of 16. Well, he was 15 at the time. No, it's the right one. No, it's the right case and everything. Yeah, 100%. No, it's the right one here. Yeah, see, look it. We're looking at this article, right? Now here is his actual background check on this guy, right? Look it. March 30th, 1983. That would make him, so his date of birth was 1983. He would be 17 plus 9, 36 years old. Just like this says, right? And then right down here it says conviction date, September 28th, 1998. So that's a real thing. But the victim, okay, here it is. So he was under the age of 16, but the victim was 1 to 11 years old. So then there was another level. Okay, that maybe the article was a little bit off. So the article, what it is if you're 15 or 16, there's probably a charge if the victim is 11 or younger, right? Because that means they're pre-puberty probably. So there might be another law that they have there. So while he was 15, he obviously, molested or had sex with a person that was between 1 and 11. Okay, and so I think that person would be more likely later on to have maybe had something done to that guy or done it himself. Don't you think? Because you probably had a screwed up life and you were feeling like, people probably made fun of you and all this crap. And then maybe later when he became, so let's say he was 11 years old at the time in 1998. So you add, I think you add 10 years to that. That'd make him about 20 years old in 2008, 21. And then he exacts revenge. Does that sound like a possibility? Or maybe he tried to do something else with some other kid and the parents just took him out. So I don't think the police are really, busting their balls to try to get this one done, right? Do you guys think they're really trying to kick ass and figure this one out? I doubt it. It kind of reminds me of the case in the Cheryl Coker case. Right after she went missing, they found a body in a field, and it turns out the person that was found in the field, we were thinking maybe it was Cheryl Coker, but it was a sex offender. Okay? And then I bet you anything, the police aren't working hard at all to figure that one out. That's last on their list. As a matter of fact, if they had just one case to do, they would do it. But if there's two, it's always second. Right. So yes, this is the same guy in this report here. So that's my theory, is that one of his victims exacted revenge at a later time. Let's see, there's one article that was in here. Let's see. Delaware State Police detectives are asking for the public's assistance in helping to solve a Bridgeville homicide that occurred in 2008. What they should have said was, police detectives are asking for the public's assistance in helping to identify the murderer of a convicted pedophile. And then as soon as that was said, then you'd switch over to the next article. Police said that at around 9:20 a.m. Saturday, December 20th, 2008, the body of Michael Tchaikovsky of Georgetown was found in a field off of Apple Tree Road in Bridgeville. The death was ruled a homicide by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. The initial investigation by homicide detectives revealed that Tchaikovsky and two other males had been observed. Oh, so he was in a car with. I hadn't read this part yet. Tchaikovsky and two other males had been observed driving around the Bridgeville area in Tchaikovsky's 2001 Chrysler PT Cruiser on Friday, December 19th. This was the last time Tchaikovsky was seen alive, according to investigators. Well, maybe you tried to solicit the wrong guy. Okay. Police said that around 7:15 p.m. Saturday, December 20th, firefighters responded to a vehicle fire at Band C Storage located on Cannon Road, SR 18 in Bridgeville. After the fire was extinguished, it was discovered that the vehicle was the PT Cruiser owned by Tchaikovsky. Homicide detectives have since followed several leads in the case, but so far have been unable to make any arrests. Yeah, well, that's one of those ones I'm not like, oh, damn, you know. It was just kind of interesting, all the twists and turns it took, but that's another unsolved case in Delaware. Oh, by the way, the Blazers won tonight on the road. You want to hear something crazy? The Blazers on the road this year are 4-3, but at home they're 1-5. Is that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? But tonight's game was absolutely nuts. We had a 23-point lead early in the second quarter. And then by halftime, San Antonio cut it to like 6 points. And then in the second half, we built up a 15-point lead with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. And then Greg Popovich got ejected from the game. And they went on like a 20-0 run. I mean, it was so ludicrous. We were down by 6 or so by the end of the quarter. And then we got down by 12 points with like 5 minutes to go in the game. And then we went on a 30-10 run or something and won the game. I've never seen a game with that crazy of wild swings. 20-point runs on both teams 3 or 4 times. Oh, anyways, there you go. All right, so that is Michael Tchaikovsky, the whack job pedophile who was then murdered. And it hasn't been solved, and I really don't think they're going to put that one on the front of any list. And I'm calling him that because if he was 15 and the kid was 11, that's a big difference. I mean, 11 years old, man. It was 1 to 11, too. It wasn't that it happened to be the 11-year-old. It could have been a 9-year-old, something like that, in that particular case. The one that the article was about a 16-year-old, and he was 18, and he solicited that person. So I don't even know what charge that is at that point. I mean, he's an adult, technically. But, I mean, I'm not really one of those people that the statutory rape thing, I think it's pretty ludicrous. Like, if you're 17, let's say you're a junior in high school and you're dating a freshman, or and you're 17, she's 15 or whatever. That's sort of normal. Like, that's what goes on in high school. But then as soon as you turn 18 the next year, you're still dating the same person. They're 16. Now it's illegal. Like, I don't know. Stuff like that bothers me. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, so if you're, yeah, I mean, if that person had sex with somebody and they were like 8 or 9 and he's 15, he knows what he's doing. That's a pedophile there. Although later on when he tried to solicit the 16-year-old, that's interesting because pedophiles are actually attracted to prepubescent people. So who knows what that guy was doing? You know, I don't know if he ever had a diagnosis of what he is or anything like that, but it sounds like a pretty sick guy. Well, of course, Dottie. Jesus. I mean, yeah. Yeah, see, there you go, Tammy. That's exactly what I'm saying. And had you dated him the year before, everything would have been just fine. Right? Because he'd been 17, not an adult. You're 15, not an adult. Okay, now I'm going to switch over to another case. This one is of Shirley Weckerly, September 10th, 1983. I'm not sure I put anything in that folder yet, so we'll build this information as we go. Okay. Woman missing, but her car was found. So that's the thing. An abandoned car owned by a Dover woman who disappeared 8 days ago was found early Thursday, parked in front of a Harrington grocery, city police said. And I couldn't find it there now. I couldn't find on that road. I wasn't able to find it. Or that just says Harrington, but later it explains where, and there doesn't seem to be a grocery store anymore. But, you know, this is 1983. An inspection of the car revealed no signs of foul play, according to Police Lieutenant William R. Stats. So they found the car, no signs of foul play. An inspection of the car, and then Shirley L. Weckerly, 58. So it's her car. She's 58 years old, was last seen the morning of September 1st on her way from her mobile home on South Little Creek Road to visit friends near Frederica, according to her daughter, Andrea Barrow. Barrow said her mother never reached her destination and has not been heard from since. So, let's see. So she left her mobile home. Let's see, Little Creek Road. Let me try to get that. Little Creek Road. Is that this one? I wonder why it's right in the middle of that. Well, either way, it's in that area in Dover. Let's see, it said Shirley L. Weckerly, 58, was last seen the morning of September 1st on her way from her mobile home on South Little Creek Road to visit friends near Frederica. Okay, so it's over here. I wonder if it's really, there's not a lot of homes there. I wonder what it looked like in 19... Wow, it actually lets you go back to 1944. Are you kidding? They didn't have satellite. Well, they had satellites, I think, but jeez, I don't even know if they had satellites back then. No, they didn't. Man, that was like way later than that. I'm not sure why they put that there. They had a 1944 date. Okay, so this is 1992. If you scroll by, that looks like maybe a mobile home right there. Doesn't that? That's kind of what a mobile home would look like. Now let's see what it looks like now. Nothing. I bet you anything that's it. What do you guys think? There's a mobile home on this road, and this is 1992, so this is 9 years after that. I mean, I guess it could be one of these. Let's see what happens if you... Yeah, nothing there either. That's interesting. So right there, or this. But the rest of these look like regular homes, and then the road ends, and maybe that's even one there. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, all this stuff has changed. There is a mobile home right there, it looks like, but not anymore. That's still there. Interesting. Well, it could be one of many spots that are on there, but that's where she lived. Okay, so she left the house to go visit a friend. And then Barrow said her mother never reached her destination and has not been heard from since. Barrow, who shared the mobile home with her mother, described her as a very happy, vivacious person who could never go on a trip without first informing family members. She said she was afraid to pick up hitchhikers and drove with the doors locked. Weckerly's 1979 Chevrolet was found about 3 a.m. Thursday by Harrington police in the parking lot of a market on Dorman Street. So let's see, Dorman Street. Right. So somewhere on this street there was a grocery store back then, but when I type in grocery stores so just eyeball this right here, you see where this is, right? Grocery stores in Harrington. And then if you look, that didn't land on any of those. So somewhere on this street back in the day there was a shopping center. Or a grocery store, excuse me. What? Oh, there you go. I mean, I guess that almost looks like a school or something. Well, let's see. Let's see what it looked like in 1992. Well, that wasn't even there. So I guess one of these could have been a grocery store back then. They haven't repaved the road since 1983, you can tell. All right. So let's see. Park on you. I gotta go back to that one before. Now I gotta see what that said. I the end. Barrow, who shared the mobile home with her mother, described her as very happy. An employee at the market said the car was first noticed in the lot on the night of September 1st. So at that moment, they realized, wow, that car has been in that parking lot since the day she went missing. So they found her car, over a week later. But it actually had been there since September 1st. But no report was made to police because people often leave their cars in the lot temporarily. Barrow said her mother's suitcase is not at home and was usually stored in her car. Barrow said her mother is not at home and was usually stored in her car. Police said no suitcase was found. So that makes it look like she just ran off. An employee at the Trailways bus terminal in Harrington said he told police Thursday that he has not seen a woman fitting Weckerly's description, so they were checking to see if she had traveled. Weckerly came to Dover from Atlantic City, New Jersey, 2 years ago to start a new career. Barrow said her mother earned her high school diploma last year and took courses this summer in preparation for fall courses leading to a nursing degree. Yeah, that's a good career to have, actually. You can write your own ticket as a nurse. You can go anywhere. Let's see. George said her sister worked part-time cleaning houses in Wilmington and Milford. Barrow said she last saw her mother about 8 a.m. September 1st as Barrow left her job as an investigator with the State Division of Human Relations in Dover. I said, it's going to be really hot today, Mother, and I said, I love you, Barrow recalled. I love you too, Barrow quoted her mother as saying, have a nice day, and I'll see you tonight when you get home. A maintenance man in the mobile home park saw Weckerly leave between 8 and 8:30 a.m. Police said two waitresses at a fast food restaurant near Dover East. Is there more to that one? Dover East. That didn't go onto another page, did it? Or was it this one? Oh, yeah. That's one I had open. Okay. So it ends down here with police said two waitresses at a fast food restaurant near the Dover East Park on US 113 remember seeing her at the drive-in window at about 8:30. So let's see. It's called Dover East Park. So where's that? That's the States. It's probably got a different name now. Probably got some PC name on it. Somebody paid enough money to get it changed to something else. So parks in Dover. Well, there's Dover Park. That's interesting. Barrow and other family members have distributed posters with Weckerly's picture, offered a $1,000 reward. Weckerly is described as 5'5", weighing 120 pounds, with blue eyes and curly brown hair. She was wearing rose-colored tank top and dark slacks at the time she disappeared. State police helicopters scanned the Dover area during the weekend, but didn't find anything. The family said, somebody said, I strongly feel that she's alive, Barrow said earlier this week. I don't feel she left voluntarily because she would have told me by now, and I'm just refusing to think that she's not alive. All right. So that was on September 9th, and then on September 11th, of all days, woman's body found in woods near state line. 3 teenage boys walking in the woods around Mud Mill Pond. Let's see if that's still there. No, there. Yeah. Is that it? Well, there you go. That's Mud Mill Pond. Yeah. 3 teenage boys walking in the woods around Mud Mill Pond on the Maryland-Delaware state line south of Marydale found the body of a middle-aged woman. State police said the body was lying face down Saturday morning at the edge of the pond and was partially hidden under a section of metal believed to be from the interior of a pickup truck cab. So this is just when they found her. I don't even think they mentioned her name in this article, because what I do a lot of times is you find the first article where the name's mentioned, and then you type in body found, and then name the street that they also mention in the new article, and then you'll end up finding the initial article that said that where when the body was found. Investigators said there were obvious signs of foul play, but they would not elaborate. I want to read this part again here, though. It said, state police said the body was lying face down Saturday morning at the edge of the pond and was partially hidden under a section of metal believed to be from the interior of a pickup truck cab. Man, so she was probably just... Let's see, is there a street view here? I wonder if it was down this dirt road right here. We didn't get an adventurous Google Earth driver at this point, unfortunately. Investigators said there were obvious signs of foul play, but they would not elaborate. The 3 boys from Baltimore, Washington area found the body about 7:20 a.m. as they walked through the woods near the pond. About 1.5 miles south of Marydale, the boys were camping nearby with their parents. Let me just see, is this Marydale? Yeah, so that makes sense. Let's see. And that's 2.69 miles, so again, they're not actually right again. So they were camping here, huh? What did that look like back in the day? Yeah, just pure woods. And now you've got houses and things around. But back then, I mean, it looks like there's some homes there, and this looks somewhat newish. I like being able to look back into the 90s like that. All right, so the 3 boys from Baltimore, Washington area found the body at 7:20 near walking through the woods. Police said the boys told a nearby resident of the discovery at the pond, and the man called Maryland State Police in Easton. The Caroline County Department of Public Works surveyed the scene and determined the body was 12 feet inside the Delaware state line. Well, hell, maybe we can figure that out. So I think that is what... See, this is Delaware right there. So let's see. 12 feet, huh? So you know it's not here, right? Because it was in In the water, I thought they said. Let's go back to that one more time. Body was lying face down Saturday morning at the edge of the pond and was partially hidden, but it was 12 feet. Look how specific that is. So, I mean, nowadays, there's no way in hell they're going to tell you something that specific. 12 feet inside the Delaware state line. So if you go all the way down, this is the Delaware state line right there. And it was off the bank. So, I mean, 12 feet, you can actually do the measurement there. See, that's 12 feet. Just that little tiny bit right there. See that? And so you know it's going to be right in this section to about, maybe right there. This is where she was found. And that's kind of why I was hoping they could have gone down that road and you could look. Because it can't be over here because it's 12 feet from the state line, right? So that means it has to be, well, it's actually on inside, it's the other side, excuse me. So it'd be, now that sort of helps a little bit because if this looked the same, let's see what it looked like in 90, you can't see it. Right. So depending on if that gets flooded all the time, she was either found right in this area, which kind of makes sense, right? Like you would drive, pull into that little spot there, and then put her body, maybe like right there, but on the Delaware side, is what they said, didn't they? One and a half mile. Police said the boys told the nearby. Okay, so the body was 12 feet inside the Delaware state line. So that means it was on the right-hand side of that line, not the way I drew it a minute ago. So it's either here or right there, really. I don't think you would have put her out right there, but how about like right there? That's what I'll put. Could be right here too, though. So I'll put another possible. So the body was 12 feet inside. They walked through the woods near the pond about 1.5 miles south of. The boys were camping nearby with their parents. Police said the boys told a nearby resident. So right here it says, I'm just repeating this again because I like to figure it out. State police said the body was lying face down Saturday morning at the edge of the pond, but yet still 12 feet inside of Delaware. So right there could be it. And right there-ish. Yeah, who knows? But I think one of these two spots is going to be it. I don't want to sit and dwell on it too much longer because some of you are like, God, get to the point, Gray.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Police said the boys told a nearby resident, and I think that's it then. So it says 12 feet inside the Delaware state line. Okay, so that was it. This part over here is just a different article. All right, so that was September 11th was when the body was found, and then September 13th, missing woman found dead. This is more information, and they do have a little an arrow pointing to that pond and that little tiny map right there. These maps like that are usually so off. State police have identified the body found Saturday south of Marydale as 58-year-old. So that other article was just a body was found. But now we've got an identity. The state police have identified the body found Saturday south of Marydale as 58-year-old Shirley L. Weckerly of Dover, and say the woman, who had been missing since September 1st, was stabbed 4 times. So here we got more stabbing again. Police said jewelry found on the body matched a description provided by Weckerly's daughter, Andrea L. Barrow, who had pressed a search for her mother after she failed to return to her mobile home they shared on South Little Creek Road. Police also said that a shoe found near Weckerly's body matched another shoe left in her car. Well, gosh, doesn't that sound familiar? That sounds exactly like the case of Rodney Reed. Isn't that weird? Where is the Rodney Reed case now? Now I'm kind of curious. Now it's way over there. Yeah, it was in Texas. That's right. Wild. Police also said that a shoe found near Weckerly's body matched another shoe left in the car. The abandoned auto was found Thursday parked at a Harrington grocery on Dorman Street. One store employee has said the car was first seen there on the night of September 1st. Meanwhile, the state medical examiner in Wilmington is still seeking a positive identification. Hameli said the death is being classified as a homicide, but added that the exact cause has not been determined. We are still conducting an examination and further tests have to be conducted. Weckerly came to Dover 2 years ago to start a new career. Barrow, the daughter, said she'd last seen her mother about 9 a.m. on September 1st as Barrow left for her job as an investigator with the State Division of Human Relations. Weckerly was expected that morning at the home of friends south of Frederica, but never reached her destination. Her car was found a week later in Harrington, 8 miles southwest of Frederica. The body was discovered Saturday morning by 3 teenagers on the edge of Mud Mill Pond, about 15 miles northwest of Harrington. Police said the body had been there for several days and was discovered under pieces of sheet metal and appeared to come from the cab of a pickup truck. State Police Captain Ronald T. Torgerson said Monday there is no apparent motive for the slaying and detectives have no suspects. He said Dover and Harrington police have joined. See, I think things like this seem like they're serial killers. I mean, they're not solved. See, here's the thing: is serial killers, they try hard to never be discovered, and that's why in a case like this, there's no suspects whatsoever. She's just killed. No, the car wasn't even taken. And just stabbed to death with a knife. Torgerson said a handbag Weckerly was carrying the day she disappeared has not been discovered. He said her clothes were found in the car. Family members say Weckerly stored garments in her car because there wasn't enough closet space in her mobile home. No investigative leads were found as a result. Yeah, you women have a lot of clothes. I'll say that. No investigative leads were found as a result of examining Weckerly's auto. Well, maybe you should just have held on to the auto and retest it now with the FBI ability. But you probably didn't. He said an initial examination of the body found no indications of sexual assault. He said police are not sure what weapon made the 4 stab wounds. Crazy, huh? All right. Well, there you go. That's 4 of them. I have a 5th. There's 5 stories. So what do you guys think of that one? Yeah, it's 1983. Yep, I said that when it started. Man, look at all the comments about what date it is. Look at that. 1983, I think. 1983, Wally. 1983. Says 1980. I should have played the auctioneer sound and went 1983, 1983. Do I hear 1983? Do I hear 1983? 1983, 1983. All right, I'll be back in a second. Right after this commercial break. Hello. How did you like that word from our sponsors? Yeah. Got to get the I always forget what it's called. I've got to get this page up so I can see what's going on. So hold on. I think it's like the control panel. Blue's trying to get back in the house. Lots of stuff going on right now. Lots of stuff. It's like the live streaming panel. Okay, there we go. Got it. Alright, so you guys ready to do number 5? Or what? I don't have the sound effects. That Blue's just gobbling up food. He's making a lot of noise. What's going on, Blue? My God, he's just... It almost sounds like he hadn't eaten in a month. Alright, well, the last one we're going to do is one Tina-Marie Laaser, L-A-U-S-E-R, from January 1981. Alright, do you hear that, everybody? 1981, not 1983, not 1996, not 2008, but 1991. Can you guys hear Blue just gobbling away over there? Because I can hear it. Yeah, and his collar is banging away on the bowl too. It's awesome. But if you guys are okay with that, that's fine. It's just part of life, everybody. This isn't a radio studio here. It's actually my living room. And it's a small one at that. I don't have a special place that I get to be. Alright. Woman vanishes during normal work break. It says it's continued from B1, so I think that's this one. Alright, there you go. So police seek missing bank worker. Man, that's her right there. Tina-Marie Laaser. City Council and state police are searching for a 25-year-old woman who was last seen early Friday night when she took a break from her city job at a city bank. Police said the woman, Tina-Marie... Are you okay, Blue? God, Blue's... He's like he's dancing around just to jingle it. I think he's looking at me, trying to... Hey, Blue, right there. Okay. Police said the woman, Tina-Marie Laaser, of the Garden Quarter Apartments... Oh, I wonder if those are still there. I didn't see that earlier. Just a second. Garden Quarter Apartments. Ah, that's not going to be right. I can already tell. But I wonder if there's a road called Garden Quarter Road. Yeah, just not there. Yeah. That's one of the things that kind of sucks is when you're dealing with something that old, almost 40 years ago, a lot of things change. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Dennis. I'll wait a minute. This one's has a lot of information in it. There's a lot of, see, she was missing for a long time, so there's a lot of articles on it. I'm just reading the comments, just waiting for, I'll get back to this one. You guys are... I have had 3 Pomeranians, believe it or not. But Blue's the best dog I've ever had. You guys ready? All right, anyway, the city, county, and state police are searching for a 25-year-old woman who was last seen early Friday night when she took a break from her job at Citibank. Police said the woman, Tina-Marie Laaser of the Garden Quarter Apartments on Kirkwood Highway, is deaf, okay? She reads lips and speaks well enough to communicate. Miss Laaser is 5'6" and weighs 135 pounds. Police said she has dark brown shoulder-length hair and brown eyes. She was wearing a light blue ski jacket, turtleneck sweater, and blue jeans. She never returned to her job as a proof operator at the Bank of Delaware on 300 Delaware Avenue after leaving the bank at 7 p.m. to drive for a snack at the Arco Mini Mart. So this thing's like it has a lot of information. So it's called the Quarter Apartments on Kirkwood Highway. Let's see. Alright. So she worked at this bank. Looks like a high-rise kind of building. 300 Delaware. That's usually what banks are in downtown areas. This is the... So it must be this one. Kirkwood Highway. Well, I guess it's number called DE2, I guess. And it was... See, most of these names aren't going to be the same now, for sure. She was wearing... Okay, she never returned her job at the proof operator Avenue after leaving the bank at 7 p.m. to drive for a snack at the Arco Mini Mart at Pennsylvania Avenue and Van Buren Street. Okay, so we should be able to get this one. Van Buren. Okay. Man, it just drives me nuts when it does that. Absolutely crazy. Alright, just do Pennsylvania. Okay, that's Pennsylvania, alright? And then do Van Buren. Oh, now it has Pennsylvania at Van Buren. You just gave me that now after I asked for it a minute ago? I wonder if that's it right there. Yeah, I bet you anything that's what this is right here. The gas station, but it's not called that anymore. Alright, so now I gotta go back to the sentence before. So at 7 p.m. to drive for a snack. She was heading out to that Arco Mini Mart at Pennsylvania Avenue and Van Buren Street. Wilmington police found her blue 1977 Pontiac at 1 yesterday morning at Park Place and Van Buren Street with a flat tire. Oh boy. Park Place and Van Buren Street. Oh boy, that's not good. Hey, thank you, Leah Furness. Yeah, this is actually kind of... This one's really interesting. A lot of detail, and you can see Van Buren, Park Place, and Van Buren.
Sipping on gin and juice, missed you freaks, roll tide.
Oh, there it is. Wow. So it's just right there then. Is that really it? So that's Park Place right there and Van Buren. So it was just like right here. Interesting. So close to that gas station. I mean, that's weird. You have a flat tire right that close to a gas station? I mean, it's not like you would need a ride somewhere. You just say, hey, gas station, fix it. Police later found her wallet 3 miles south of Port Penn near Delaware 9, but said they have no leads. Wow. So they found her wallet, let's see, 3 miles south of Port Penn. Let's see. We'll just get a general Port Penn, Delaware. There you go. Way over here. And it said 3 miles south of there and on 9 there. So we're going to be really close because I'm going to do it the way they probably would do it. With measurement mile, go like this. Okay, and then just kind of get a general. We're at 1.32. Almost 2 miles there. Yeah, it's still 9. 2.34. 2.88. That's 3.1. There we go. That's 3 miles. Wallet found. Interesting. I gotta turn these other ones off, or I won't even be able to see what I'm working with. Okay, there you go. So that's where everything went down over here, right? She was at work here, and then went to take a break and go to this mini mart, but then they found her, or mini mart right there, and then her car was found right here with a flat tire. And then they found her wallet way down here. That's nuts. Police said, and these are unsolved cases here, by the way. Police said Miss Laaser's routine was to drive from the bank on her break to the mini market for a snack. She did not reach the market on Friday, but she was damn close because her car was right there. We assume she drove up West Street to 10th. Well, I think we've got that. Exactly how they said it. Let's see. So here's 300. And which one is 10th? 13, 14. So it would have been, this is 300. So is this 10th right there? Let's see. 12th, 11, 10. Yeah, so this would be 10th. So you would go like this. So they think she went something like this. And then maybe like this. Let's see. We assume she drove up West Street, no, 210th, then drove out to Van Buren because we found her car 200 feet from the Arco, a detective said. Yeah, well, that's exactly what we have here. I think if you take that, yeah, so, wow, she went this way like this, and that she didn't make it to the gas station yet. That's interesting. She actually had not made it to the gas station yet. Let's see, and is that what they're saying? Yeah, Van Buren. That's Van Buren right there. So they think she went there, so there's this right there. 10th Street, then Van Buren, and then her car was found right here with a flat tire. That's weird that she just didn't go a little bit further, even on the flat tire, to the gas station right there. Yeah, it's taking me a while to get through this because there's a lot of facts packed in there that you gotta. All right, so that's what they assume how she drove. Now I'm gonna go to the next. So that was on February 1st. Now we've got February 3rd. Police fear for missing deaf woman. It's hearing impaired, you assholes. The search continued today for a 25-year-old Bank of Delaware employee who disappeared mysteriously 4 days ago in Wilmington. Police today said foul play is suspected and revealed that several items belonging to the woman have been found in lower Newcastle County. Wow. The woman, Tina-Marie Laaser of the Garden Quarter Apartments near Newark, is deaf but reads lips and is able to speak, according to Wilmington State and County Police. She left her job as a clerk at the bank branch at 300 Delaware Avenue about 7 on Friday night to get a snack at the Arco Mini Mart a few blocks away, police said. She was never seen again. Police said they spoke to her husband, Thomas of Chester, Pennsylvania, from whom she is separated, but he said he hasn't seen her. He too is deaf, police said. When Mrs. Laaser didn't return to the bank after her dinner break, employees called the police. That's interesting. About 1 a.m. Saturday, police found her car with a flat tire parked on Van Buren Street and Park Place. Police said she never reached the mini mart where she routinely bought her snack. An extensive search over the weekend turned up Mrs. Laaser's wallet about 3 miles south of Port Penn on Delaware 9. Police also found an assortment of checks from her checkbook apparently blown by the wind along Delaware 9 from Port Penn to Augustine Beach. Wow. Police also found a pair of shoes, later identified by her mother as hers. Wow, I mean, it's just crazy. She was last seen wearing a light blue ski jacket, turtleneck sweater, and blue jeans. Miss Laaser is white with shoulder-length brown hair and brown eyes, is 5'6", 135 pounds. We'd like to think she's okay, one of the team detectives assigned to the case, but we don't know at this point. Okay, so and then the following day, police fear for missing bank worker. Let's see if this is the same one. Looks real similar, just probably published the next day. Yeah, I'd like to think she's okay, so it's a different, same article, just published the next day. Yeah, and then this one is from February 8th. That was continued from C1. Oh wait, I think this is it. Right, so this is these are people actually looking for, looks like in some kind of a swamp, about 100 police and firemen. Hey, thanks, Sassmere. Searched the marshy area around Port Penn yesterday for Tina Laaser, a 25-year-old deaf woman, missing since January 30th. In an airboat headed down an ice-choked creek near Chesapeake and Delaware Canal, our Wilmington detective Dennis Williams left Marine policeman John Hennessy at controls and Jim Ramsey. Yeah, it seems like I'm missing a page, though. I thought this was... Let's see. Miss Laaser lives with her 2-year-old daughter and her sister, Linda Hesse, and Garden Quarter Apartments on Kirkwood Highway. She has been deaf since birth, police said. Friends said she can read lips and speak, although her speech is difficult to understand. Lieutenant Bernard F. Walsh, Jr., police spokesman, said it's not known if the unidentified woman is also... I don't know what that means, unidentified woman. You know what? I gotta go find. Now I gotta go find this this article now, because now I think I might be missing something that might be interesting there. Obviously, I missed it though. Let's see. And this is Tina Laaser. Delaware. That's 1981. But it's actually, let's see, let's get the exact date. February 8th, 1981. Okay, so this could be it. So it starts on C1. There I'll go to like 30. That's C6. 25. That's C1. Okay. Could have sworn I got that. Could have sworn. Man, this one's crazy. It's interesting though. Detectives investigating the disappearance of 25-year-old bank clerk Tina-Marie Laaser are seeking an unidentified woman seen with her the night she vanished. Wilmington police said a caller, whom they did not name, see, I knew this was going to be important, told them the woman was seen in Mrs. Laaser's car when she disappeared more than a week ago. Police do not know the identity of the woman, but described her as a white 20 to 25-year-old, 5 foot 4 inches tall, with a medium build and shoulder-length brown hair. She was wearing blue jeans and a green jacket. To protect the anonymity, I think I said that right the first time, of the caller, police would not say where or at what time the women were seen. The unidentified... Let's see, the caller, police would not... Okay. The unidentified companion is the only lead police have in their probe. A massive search by police and fire company volunteers in a 15-square-mile area south of Delaware City was called off yesterday After more than 5 hours of hunting, turned up no new evidence. Miss Laaser has been missing since January 30th, when she left her job at the bank. That was at 300 Delaware Avenue at 7 p.m. to go to the Arco Mini Mart a few blocks away for a snack, and she never reached the store and had a flat tire about 200 feet away. Employees called the police, who found her car at 1 the next morning, parked at Van Buren Street and Park Place. All right. So then right down here it says her checkbook, checks were floating around on the highway, Highway 9, apparently blown by the wind, were found in the Augustine Beach area, as were her shoes. Miss Laaser lived with her 2-year-old daughter and her sister, Linda Hesse, in the Garden Quarter apartments of Kirkwood Highway. Miss Hesse, Miss Laaser's sister, said last night she knows little about her sister's personal life, but she said Miss Laaser had been dating her husband exclusively lately, and so maybe they were seeing each other again, maybe? Said they were, yeah, there he is, and they were considering reconciliation. Miss Hesse said she hasn't seen her sister. Oh, well, here's something that's a little bit interesting then. Maybe the ex-husband that she was dating again was seeing somebody else, who then realized that she was seeing his ex-wife, and that lady went after her, and that's the lady that was seen in the car with her. Is that a possibility? About 100 police and fire company volunteers combed woods, searched the shoreline south of Delaware City yesterday. The search began at 8 a.m. and was called off by Wilmington detectives at about 1:30 p.m. So they had, this is, so now we're on February 8th and they still haven't found her. Oh, so yeah, here it is. I saved it as the wrong sequence. So I did save that earlier. It was I put that as B when it should have been A and the other one B. Okay, and that was that image. And now we're looking at, let's see, February 2nd, 22nd, 1981. So this is, now we're about 3 weeks later. What happened to Tina Laaser? Hello, this is Tina Laaser. Where is Tom Laaser? She typed. Her gray teletype sits on a small desk beneath a framed picture of a circus clown. Miss Laaser relayed the message after work on Wednesday, January 28th. 2 nights later, she vanished. Plus she wrote, hello, this is Tina Laaser. Where is Tom? Tina Laaser, devoted mother, dependable worker, unhappy wife. Tina Laaser, who just wanted to be loved. Well, she was dating him again. She's a very loving person. She just wanted to be happy and it didn't take much to make her happy, says Libby Hesse, Mrs. Laaser's older sister. She didn't like to be mad at people, and she didn't like people to be mad at her. Frequent fights with her husband upset her, and she was worried about a minor operation scheduled for her little girl. What was she thinking as she pulled into the Arco AM/PM mini market? Well, she didn't. Who was she thinking about? Who was the woman who was seen using sign language with Miss Laaser at the gas station? Well, that's interesting. So that person, so look at that. That actually supports what I'm saying a little bit even more, because her husband, who she was seeing again, he, and they're both deaf, so he probably dates other people that are hearing impaired. Okay, so the lady that was in the car with her was signing to her. Now, could it also be something where since she apparently had custody, there was probably child support again. We're looking at something where her child's 2 years old, and he would be paying child support for 16 years after that. Can you guys not hear me? Hello? Yeah, you got to turn up your volume, Mac. Now look how this is a massive article on her right here. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll just try to hit some bullet points. I didn't even try to save it out because it's too big. So, I mean, each one of these 3 dotted areas, maybe we can just look through it really quick and see what's going on. Miss Laaser, dark-haired and pretty, turned 25 on January 8th. Her disappearance is being investigated as a missing person case. Authorities are still combing miles of marshland. Miss Laaser's disappearance launched a big search. Bob Hesse was earning his living as a trucker when his 3rd child was born, and they called her Tina-Marie. They said she wasn't talking because her tonsils and adenoids were enlarged, but she was actually deaf. Tina-Marie was taking special classes at Johns Hopkins University for hearing impaired. Tina was smart and she was tough. Several years ago, Hesse studied sign language, as did his 2nd wife and oldest daughter. He and Tina then saw more of each other. She had a job at the University of Delaware, and that brought her closer to Hesse. I think these are her parents they're talking about. Let's get to this part about the bank here, though. The youngster graduated from Stirk in 1975, making several friends along the way. On the 7th floor of the Bank of Delaware building, Sue Janneman's voice could hardly be heard above the clacking of the proof machines. She's really a character, says Miss Janneman, Miss Laaser's best friend in the proof department. She made a lot of people laugh. The desk-sized computer with which Miss Laaser processed 1,100 to 1,200 items an hour is covered. Yeah, well, the thing is think how crazy that is. A desk-sized computer. Now it would be nothing. You could probably do that on your iPhone. Heyman was one of the bank officers who trained Miss Laaser. Half the time she knew what was going on in here more than I did. She'd look at the clock, then me, to see if I was going to do anything. Then she'd holler, "Shut up, Miss something or other." Everyone in the noisy room knew what Mrs. Laaser meant. No fooling around on the company time. Yeah. On many workdays, Miss Laaser made the snack runs for her co-workers, fetching sodas, potato chips, and an occasional People magazine for herself from Ray's Nitty Gritty in the bank lobby. She always had a smile on her face, says Nan Metzger, who runs the snack shop. Kool and the gang are full blast on the jukebox at Buster's Cretin. Let's see what we got over here. Miss Laaser just walked out let's see. Her brother-in-law didn't seem to understand when little Karen would twirl his stereo set dials and he'd slap her hands. That upset Mrs. Laaser, and she had told Greg Merritt that she would call the police if he kept slapping her daughter. Just before she went on break, Miss Laaser ran her totals on the machine, so if it broke down, she wouldn't have to start from scratch. She grabbed her coat and pocketbook and began leaving her office for the break with 2 other operators. Then the black telephone began ringing, and one of her companions took the call. Miss Laaser just walked out without them. That was her style. She was one of the first ones out of here, her supervisors say. She wouldn't wait around. Yeah, she didn't work any extra time, just boom, out the door. 5 minutes after she left work, she was at the Arco's gas pumps filling up her Pontiac Astra. She was using sign language with a young woman. So I thought you guys said, see, that's confusing because it said she had a flat tire and it wasn't. Well, you know what? Maybe the car was put back there to throw people off because it looked like she got gas, right? And she was signing with some lady. So maybe somehow they ended up going somewhere, and then the car was put back there with the flat tire. Because that's totally opposite of what was said. So it sounds like she really did made it to the Arco station. 5 minutes after she left work, she was at the Arco gas pumps filling up her Pontiac Astra. She was seen using sign language with a young woman. State police artist Rolf Wysocks rendering of that woman now hangs on the Deaf Club's bulletin board, but no one seems to know her. Sue Janneman began to worry at 7:55, and a quick search was started. Wilmington police were called at 8:15, and they arrived about a half hour later. See, that's weird that they would call that quickly. You know, like if you leave your office and then you go to the store, and you're going to call the cops. I mean, it doesn't sound like there's a nefarious reason behind it, but man, it's such a quick. Man, that's my chair. I got to start putting oil in this one now. Jesus. Sue Janneman began to worry at 7:55, and a quick search was started. Wilmington police were called at 8:15, and they arrived about a half hour later. At first, officers said there was little they could do because Ms. Laaser was of age and has not been missing long. Bank Security Director Sam Brown III walked in 15 minutes later.
Hey, thank you to Wanda.
Gray on the case. Thank you.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it took me probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours to get all this stuff together for this. So I appreciate it. Bank Security Director Sam Brown III walked in 15 minutes later, and a hasty round of telephone calls was started. Department boss Robert Heyman came back in and helped city police and bank security officers search in the chill air. We searched parking lots for signs of a struggle, a note, anything. The police contacted Tom Laaser at the club later that night and told him his wife was missing. He left everything like she was coming back, says Lisa, the department supervisor. The supervisor went home at about midnight. Police found Miss Laaser's car shortly after that. A tire was flat. So is that the sketch? So that's the sketch right there. Police sketch of a woman seen with Tina Laaser the night she disappeared. And as we know, sketches are just a likeness, something that might jog your memory and say, hey, that looks kind of like the sketch. It's not meant to do side-by-sides or anything. That weekend, a hunter found the wallet, and searchers began combing the elephant grass and marshes of... Wow, that's weird. Why would a hunter find the wallet if it was just off the freeway? I guess maybe there just happened to be a hunter and saw it there and pulled over. The following Monday was a horrible, horrible day for Miss... it's hard to say her name. Cufatelli or something like that. The atmosphere in here was bad, she says. It's a good thing it was busy day so we couldn't stop and think. I don't I didn't get anything done on Monday. Bob didn't get anything done on Monday. Everyone who knows Miss Laaser is hoping she's off on a fling, but deep down they know this isn't her style. She was a very responsible, very punctual. This is the victimology stuff. You know, I'm sort of learning that it's actually pretty important to know what type of person they are. And their habits. You know, I don't really care like when people say, "Oh, wow, they were in the Glee Club and stuff." That shit doesn't matter to me. But in terms of victimology, what were their habits? What would they normally do? That stuff matters a lot. Everyone who knows Mrs. Laaser is hoping she's off on a fling. There was cake and ice cream and at Karen's party, and let's see, brought over little outfits. Taking a break from her hectic routine, Bob Hesse grinds out his cigarette and says, "She knew how to take care of herself. It wouldn't surprise me that she's not up in Chester locked in a room, at least I hope so." At first, rumor had it that the Philadelphia police were seeking a missing deaf woman. That was true, as far as it went, but the woman is from western Pennsylvania. Philadelphia Missing Persons Desk had received information on the case from Pennsylvania State Police in Meadville, which is 20 miles from the Ohio line. The case stems from a domestic quarrel, says Corporal Charles Lee of the State Police, after a fight with her husband, Lorraine Ray Rogers, 24, dashed into the winter night without her hat and coat and disappeared in January. Like everyone else, Libby Hesse is baffled by her sister's disappearance. "The whole thing has me stunned," she says. "She wouldn't have just left with anyone. Tina did not like strangers at all." Mary Lou Bird has known Miss Laaser for 13 years. It's hard to sleep, and you wake up in the morning, and you still think about it. And Sue Janneman gazes into the proofing office with her empty desk and says, "I do miss her." All right, so that's a little bit of, they know that's not how she is. Now, that was on February 22nd, 3 weeks after she went missing. And her car was found. So on March 30th, there's an article in the paper. So literally a month later, actually, 5 weeks after that last article we read, an autopsy was to be performed today to identify a body found Sunday, which may be that of missing bank worker Tina-Marie Laaser. The body was clothed in a powder blue ski jacket and blue jeans, similar to those worn by Miss Laaser on the day she disappeared 2 months ago. Mrs. Laaser, 25, was on a break from her job at Bank of Delaware, 300 Delaware Avenue, January 30th, when she failed to return. The body, bound and weighted with a cinder block, was found in 6 feet deep of water under a bridge off Delaware 9, 2 miles northwest of Bayview Beach. Unofficially, some authorities said Sunday they thought the body was that of Miss Laaser, but officially police will not know until the autopsy and other tests are completed. "We don't have any other people missing under suspicious circumstances," said Corporal Barry I. Beck, a spokesman for Delaware State Police. 2 state police divers recovered the body from Silver Run in the Augustine Wildlife area about 1:30 Sunday afternoon. Let's see where that is. Silver Run, Augustine Wildlife. There it is. Okay, good. This is kind of where... Look how close that is. Wow, that's crazy now. Look at that. See, now we're right near where the wallet, like on that whole drive down. So they were throwing stuff out. She's probably already dead inside the vehicle at this point. And this is Highway 9, Augustine Wildlife Area. So the body from Silver Run. So let's see if that's something that's still there. So why did that actually... And that is Highway 9 right there. Unofficially, some authorities said Sunday... Let me go through this part right here. 2 state police divers recovered the body from Silver Run in the Augustine Wildlife Area about 1:30. Police were called to the bridge about 10 Sunday morning after James F. Dill Sr. and his wife Gail of Newcastle were fishing there and found the body. Miss Laaser's disappearance was investigated as a missing persons case by Wilmington detectives who found her car with the keys still in the ignition. So that's something we didn't know. A tire had been flattened intentionally. Oh man, see, shit. That's actually what I was saying a little bit ago, right? That she probably left, and then that the, God, that's crazy. So the key was in the ignition, and the car was flattened intentionally. So what would be a reasoning for doing that? Just to make it look like... Because if you abduct somebody, why do you need to do all that? Yeah, as soon as they said that that she actually did go to the Arco and get gas, then you have to then think, well, shit, then that's probably... The flat tire seems like something that was created after that, right? And her key, yeah, that's weird. So the keys were still in the ignition. A tire had been flattened intentionally. Miss Laaser's wallet and other... Right, that's what I think too, Sooner History. That's what I was saying a minute when I first brought it up. Miss Laaser's wallet and other personal items were found in the Port Penn area shortly after her disappearance, which is leading right down to this area here. See, it was found in 6 feet of water under a bridge off Delaware 9. Okay, so this is Delaware 9. Let's see if we can... Oh, you think that's it right there? That bridge right there. I bet you anything that's it. And look at how crazy that is. Right there, the wallet was found. They're just dumping items out, driving. Let's see if there's any other bridges. See, well, this could be one here too. Let's do this. So we're going to have to put this possible here. And then I guess there's another one there. Okay, hold on. Let's try to... So this is the Augustine Wildlife Area. These two are really close. I mean, that one's not far away either. So... Okay, I think those are the only 3 possibilities. So this is the Augustine Wildlife Area. And what'd they call that too? The... something... Run... Silver Run. From Silver Run. Yeah. So that's the Silver Run River. That's what they're... I think that's what that is. I didn't realize that that's what it was. So the Silver Run River. And... yeah. So I think this is it right here then. See? Because it said Silver Run. And that's not... These bridges here aren't the same river. See that? It's a completely different one. So I'm going to make an executive decision now and say that that's where the body was found. Get rid of these. And so that's the Silver Run River. And it goes right underneath Highway 9. And then she was found right down there. And probably if you go to Street View here. Look off. Oh, look at the way that looks. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know exactly what happened here, right, everybody? I mean, she was killed. The person was dumping items out of the car, and it was probably late at night. They pulled right onto the bridge and had her all tied up and weighted down. You know what's weird is she could have been kept somewhere. Because if you're weighted down and you got all the cement stuff that's wrapped around her, that means it wasn't something you just sort of did right there at the spot, right? That means you could have had her somewhere, killed her, then it could have been killed quickly. We don't know that part. But she could have been kept somewhere else and then just stored. And then when they were ready to take her to dispose of her, then they wrapped her up in all the weighted down materials. So I'm going to read this part again. The body, bound and weighted with a cinder block, was found in 6 feet of water under a bridge. So what the hell was this person doing with her, though? I mean, they didn't want her to be found. But did they keep her for a while? Okay, and then let's see, Bayview Beach. Let's just make sure. I mean, I'm sure that Bayview Beach is down here, right? Now, Bayview Beach, Delaware. Yeah, it's just not there anymore. I saw one that was similar. It was like Bayview something else, but maybe they don't call it that anymore. But I'm almost 100%. I mean, this makes absolute sense right here. I mean, look how wild this is. I mean, the gas station's up here, and then the person drives them all the way down here on Highway 9, dumps out items along the way, checks, a wallet. Then they keep driving on Highway 9, just like this. They get onto the bridge, and they dump her off the side, weighted down. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Well, no, but you guys are just assuming it's the... they might not have been able to find the deaf person. And maybe the witness wasn't even right. And then at the same time, how do you... I mean, it's a woman. I mean, you think... you have a cinder blocks and all this stuff, dumping a body off of a bridge. It seems like you'd need a guy to do something like that. Oh, Gray, you're so sexist. Now you're saying that women... Look, I'm just being reasonable here. She weighed 130-something pounds, and weighted down. So there probably was a guy involved, too, don't you think? Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's what I was saying. What if the husband was actually dating somebody else too, and he was doing a little bit of a Patrick Frazee here? Like he was Patrick Frazee before Patrick Frazee, that he sort of wormed his way back into his ex-wife's life, and they're dating again, that kind of thing, but he's seeing somebody else. And then he thinks, well, God, I don't want to have to pay child support for the next 16 years. God, we'll take care of the kid. And so he has his girlfriend strike up a conversation with her or something at the mini mart and convinces her to do something. Who knows? And then the husband comes by. You know, I don't know how that all went. That's kind of a absolute wild speculation. But what do you think of that? Yeah. Yep.
I am digging the cases by state thing. I can't wait for one of my states. I am sure everyone else
Well, cool.
can't wait for their state. Good stuff. You're the best.
Awesome. Yeah. You know what's funny is this is the last one I picked up, and it's by far the most interesting one. I mean, it's got, it's just got a ton of stuff. And I didn't even get to read most of this at the stuff that we're doing right now. So the key was in the ignition. This is one that you could literally make an entire podcast episode on, don't you think? I mean, I do. I think it's complex enough, and if you could get some interviews with different people. So that was on March 30th, and then on March 31st. Okay, and then look at this one. This is how she died. So here's another one that was stabbed to death, right? I mean, just weird. All in Delaware in the 80s and 90s. A woman believed to be missing bank worker Tina-Marie Laaser has been stabbed to death before her body was weighted with a cinder block and dumped into a shallow creek, State Medical Examiner Ollie Z. Hameli said Monday. Well, Shallow Creek. So maybe this isn't the right one. Or is this shallow? Maybe it's really shallow, this water here. Or maybe it's one of like this right here. Because it's definitely got to be this bridge. It's the only bridge on 9 that goes by that river they mentioned. Hameli gave the cause of death as stab wounds of the neck and chest. See, that's like a personal way too right there, right? But he wouldn't elaborate on the number of wounds since homicide probe is now underway by state police. State police said that Mrs. Laaser's mother and stepfather, Elizabeth and Ralph Carlin of Willow Run on Monday, identified the body as Mrs. Laaser, who has been missing since January 30th. Police also reported that their analysis of the fingerprints showed the body was Miss Laaser. But Hameli withheld making a positive identification until the FBI verifies its set of fingerprints. Well, I wonder... I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's got to be some forensic information wound up in the material that she was dumped off the bridge with. Because again, 1981, nobody's thinking about DNA whatsoever. So hopefully they did a great job of unwrapping her and taking off any material inside of the, cocoon, if you will. We have a near positive identification, but we are trying to finalize it with fingerprints. Because she worked for a bank, I was going to say she probably had her fingerprints at the bank. Laaser's fingerprints were taken and filed with the FBI in Washington, and Hameli is awaiting word from FBI technicians. The body was recovered about 20 miles south of the city of Port Penn area. Several of Miss Laaser's personal effects had been found in that area. Shortly after her disappearance, a hunter found her wallet, and searchers found mangled credit cards and torn checks, as well as her shoes, which had been placed side by side and wiped clean of mud. Wow. So that's something we didn't know right there. 2 of her shoes were found, placed side by side and wiped clean of mud. So why would there have been mud on her shoes? So that means she was probably alive at some point and forced to... Man, who the hell knows what she had to go through? This is some weird shit, though. Her body was spotted about 10 Sunday morning, floating face down in about 6 feet of water. So amazingly, these people weigh down these bodies with cement cinder blocks, but decomposition and the gases that are created in your body actually outdo the cinder blocks. And that's actually the same thing that happened in the Russell and Shirley Derman case. That's a case that you guys should look into. It's absolutely wacky. These 80-year-old couple living in an absolutely affluent neighborhood. They weren't showing up to parties and so forth, and then boom, Russell Derman is found in his garage without his head. His head had been absolutely removed, and they couldn't find his head, and Shirley Derman was missing. And then not too long after that, her body floated in the lake there, and she too was connected to cinder blocks. They still haven't found Russell Derman's head at this point. But yes, bodies float after the gases of decomposition form in the body. Yeah, we don't know what they made her do, Gene. Right? I mean, when you say something, just make it as an opinion. You make it sound like it's a fact that they made her walk to her own murder. We don't have a clue what the hell happened. They may have made her walk to a cabin in the woods. Whatever happened, and they tortured her. Who knows? We don't even know if she was tortured. All we know is she was stabbed in the neck and the chest, and that she was weighted down, thrown into a river, and that apparently somebody found 2 of her shoes and they were wiped clean of mud. That doesn't mean they made her walk to her death. Okay, that's something right out of Minibus Dipshit channel. Okay, we don't need that. All right, her body was spotted about 10 Sunday morning, floating face down in about 6 feet of water in Silver Run, a Delaware River inlet in the Augustine Wildlife Area. Okay. 6 feet of water in Silver Run. That's what we just showed. A Delaware River inlet in the Augustine Wildlife Area. So that's exactly what we were just showing. A Newcastle couple fishing from Silver Run Bridge, a narrow wooden bridge off of Delaware 9, saw it and notified police. I'm just flipping you crap, Gene. That actually had more logic in it than anything you ever hear on that channel. But the thing is we don't have a clue, right? There's mud on the shoes that was wiped off. They wiped it off for some unknown reason. And where were the shoes? Were they near where her body was found? They didn't even say that in the article. Let's see. A hunter found her wallet, and searchers found mangled credit cards and torn checks, as well as her shoes. So searchers found her shoes, which had been placed side by side and wiped clean of mud. I wonder if the police down there would be interested in just being, if I could ask them questions, because it'd be interesting to know some of the answers, like where were the shoes found? I mean, it sounds like it's colder than cold. Are you guys still there? Yeah, it's weird, right? Has that serial killer feel to it, though, a little bit. Just, I mean, it seems like a lot of these unsolved ones have that feel. I mean, it does seem like, wow, I mean, there's a girl that she was seeing with that's deaf. She was seeing her husband again, dating. I mean, how did that come about? A lot of angles there. But why would you take her shoes off and then wipe them clean of mud? Who cares? Why not just keep the shoes and throw them in a dumpster somewhere? Nobody would even look twice at a pair of muddy shoes in a dumpster. It just seems weird. Yeah. Well, all you do is just pull up to the side of the bridge, though, Gene. It's not like you're going to be carrying anybody. See, look. This is how it went. Right around in here is where the wallet was found by a hunter. Let's see what it looked like back closer to that time. This is 1991 now. Okay, so this is 1991, 10 years after. But, you know, it looks similar. It's just a lot less. Let's see. So I'm going to move it forward. Well, it's not way different, I guess. So let's see what it would look like. You're driving around probably late at night. Or already looks pretty desolate. Probably nobody even around. And then you just quickly pull over and say, hey, hurry up, get out. We can. And here's what they could do. Look at this positioning here. You can see any cars coming way back there. And you could see any cars coming in this direction. So you would just pull over quickly and then just dump the body out and then just keep on moving. Do it like 2 in the morning, right? Not a soul is going to be out there. Hey, you catch anything? It does look like a pretty shallow. I don't know why they called it a creek in that one article, but that definitely looks more like a river. And on this side, there's an island with 2. After coworkers at the bank reported that Miss Laaser hadn't returned from her break, police found her car near the gas station with the keys still in the ignition and tires slashed at the Arco station. It almost feels like it was put back there, though. I mean, what would be the point of taking her and then going over and slashing her tire if you have her? Like, what's the point of that? I don't know. Or why drive it back there and slash it? Here's the question. What's the point of slashing the tire in this case? Can you think of that? Can anybody give me a good answer to that? Anybody. Anybody at all. Man. Like, sometimes you know the reason for slashing a tire. But in this case, why would you do it? She was at the gas station, I guess, getting gas. And then all of a sudden... let's see this again. Let's take a look at that again. So here's where she works. 300 Delaware Bank, at Delaware Bank, 300 Delaware Avenue. Drive down 10th, take a right. And the thing is apparently she made it to here. Now, is it possible then, I guess, that since she would go back this way, that somebody slashed her tire when she went into the mini mart to get snacks? Then as she drove out, she felt the clump, clump, clump. Then a car pulled up and abducted her and drove away. Boom. That's it. Bam. We just figured that part out. That makes all the sense in the world right there. She drives up Van Buren, gets gas in her car, gets her snacks like she wanted. While she's in there, somebody slashes her tire. Now, was that the... And who's this person, the deaf person? I don't even know if this is, who knows who that is. But somebody slashes her tire. Then she pulls off. Maybe that lady's even in the car with her at that time, saying, hey, yeah, I'll go back towards your work. I got to do something. Just come up with some crap. And then it starts going clump, clump. And she's like, oh, God, I think I have a flat tire. Pulls over. And then the third party, perhaps, gets involved. 7 o'clock at night, though. I mean, you're right in the view of all these. Let's see what it looks like right here. I mean, it's pretty visible by anybody in these buildings. It's not the greatest spot in the world. I guess it could be right here, and that would make a big difference. Okay, well, there you go. See, that's what happens when you use logic to look at something, because then you can go with that and have that be more likely. They didn't know for sure. You know what it could have been? That the tire was slashed. The girl was in the car the other girl was in the car knowing that it was going to be slashed. So she could immediately point out, hey, your tire. But why there, though? It's just, that part's weird. This isn't like, there's still people walking around here. Here, I don't know if they had surveillance cameras back then, but you're here. I guess it'd be more likely that somebody would see it. But then right here, less likely. At 7 o'clock, though, people get home from work at 5 to 6. So you're probably having a lot of people show up here. 7 o'clock, people are at home. Looks like there's a park right here. I don't know. Seems like there's sort of a ruse going on. Like the car got the flat tire, and then the other girl says, hey, maybe we could, need a ride or something. Maybe she called her husband even. But then there'd be a record of that. I don't know. It's kind of just bothering me that this spot right here is a point where you'd say, okay, great. What a great place to abduct somebody. I mean, this is absolutely... Well, let's see. They said 200 feet, right? Do you remember what they said? Was it 200 yards or feet earlier? Let's try the feet first. That's 200 feet. Do you guys remember that part when I read, was it 200 feet? No, this is 81, Wally. It's 81. A smoot. What's a smoot? Anybody remember at all what I said earlier about how many yards? Ah, hell, I'm going to look it up. No, it didn't say 1/8 of a mile. It said 200 yards. I'm just going over the articles I'm going over. I just want to know if it said 200 feet or 200 yards. That's the only thing I'm looking for. Good night, Sharon. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying, Gene. I just want to know the answer. Was it 200 feet that I read or 200 yards? No, 400 yards is not a half mile. It's a quarter mile. Okay. That's not accurate. Let's see. So you remember hearing Blue Moon 200 feet? Is that what you remember? God dang it. Wish I had written that down. Oh, there it is right there. 200 feet from the Arco. Okay, good. So good, you got it. So 200 feet from the Arco. Well, now let's see where that ends up at. That's way up that street. This direction, towards the Arco. 200 feet isn't very much at all. So right around in that area. Well, that's funny because that's where I was saying would be a better spot. Would be right here where you're not visible from, so this is the spot right here, right in this area. So there's not a lot of people there at 7 o'clock probably. And these are side windows and you're right here. Yeah, 200 feet it's like 60 yards, 65 yards, all right? So let's just put that in that area, right around in there. And I would imagine it was probably even on this side because it was driving back to work. Man, this is a cool case, isn't it? This one I was reading, let's see, probably started about 10 Sunday, who was deaf despite the... Miss Laaser disappeared during her dinner break January 30th after driving to Arco AM/PM Mini Market at Delaware Avenue and Van Buren. She had worked for 4 years as an operator. Alright, let me move on to the part B. So they did circulate a sketch throughout the deaf community, but they never located that woman. Co-workers at the bank who had resigned themselves to hearing the worst about... Well, here's the thing. What if the husband's girlfriend was somebody who could sign but wasn't in the, quote, deaf community? Now, basically that's it, everybody. That is the entire... Let me see. Anything else on here? Police were called to the bridge about 10 Sunday morning after James. Okay, we got that. Miss Laaser was living in Garden Quarter Apartments. Laaser had planned to move back in with him. Let's see. Miss Laaser was living in Garden Quarter Apartments off Kirkwood Highway with a sister. She and her husband, Thomas, were separated. They had resumed dating, and Miss Laaser had planned to move back in with him, he said in an interview last month. Yeah, just like the good old Patrick Frazee, right? Hey, we're fiancé now. Of course, at that point, I don't have to pay child support anymore, and, you don't need to get custody or anything. We're all one big team. Yeah. That's the thing is, Let me ask you something, the women out there. Like, if your car got a flat and you weren't really, like up on fixing the flat tire, like in the early 80s, people probably didn't. Who would you call if you got a flat tire? Like in 1981, if you had a flat tire, who would you call? I had to drive on a flat tire once. It was horrible. 1981, you would have called AAA? I doubt it. Right, you would have called your husband. You probably would call a boyfriend if you had one. Because all guys want to be the knight in shining armor, right? So that's interesting, right? What if she called him somehow, but there would have been a record of that. Unless... What if they checked that kind of information back then? What if the girlfriend called him and said, hey, I've got somebody that could help? And I don't know. It's just absolutely bizarre. Stabbed in the chest and neck, chained down to a cinder block, dumped into a river, and all she was doing was going to an Arco to get some candy. Crazy, huh? But anyways, if you guys don't have AAA, you got to get it. Okay? Whatever it costs. It's only like $100 and something a year. If you get I would get the highest level too. And they'll tow you like 200 miles. Okay? So, and it's totally worth it. Absolutely worth it. We don't know. I didn't see it in any of these articles here. Let me look up. I didn't try just on the internet. Let's see what they've got here. Sometimes they have old articles too that are different. Oh, that's what I used right there. So, yep, got that one. This is the site that I was using for that. Okay, this is October 18th, 1981. Let's see what this says. Oh. Let's see if there's any over-the-year updates here. Bank of Delaware is going to donate $5,000. There's August 20th. This is 6 months later. Ah, look at that. Bank of Delaware yields reward after woman sues. Finder of clerk's body was refused the $5,000 reward. Jesus, really, bank? You're idiots. Jesus. You know what sucks is having to be the person that sues for that. Because then you seem like, oh, it was all about the money. But they shouldn't be put in that position. Okay, bank? You're the idiot. Not the person who wanted to collect on it. Okay, you shouldn't have made them even have to talk about it. You should have easily just given up the reward. You didn't do it, though. Because you're greedy. Here, I'm going to put in 1982 up here and see if there's anything later. 1982 to 1990. So this is 1985. Wow, you're still talking about that? Like that? I mean, just reward money. State had much to bank on. Let me go back. What page are we on here? Okay, F6 I want to go to. Alright. Oh, there it is, right there. Well, no, that's not it. What are these? Our political, democratic race. It's weird because there's an article on her, but I don't see where that came from. Continued from state had much to bank on. So if you go back to that page, I just didn't see it. Was it right here? Overshadowed by side of top stories. Probably in that article talks about how they didn't pay the reward. The body of Tina-Marie Laaser was found in Silver Run Creek near Port Penn in March. The 25-year-old Newark resident had been stabbed in the chest and neck before her body was weighted down with a cinder block and tossed into the shallow water. Miss Laaser, who was deaf, disappeared while taking a break from her job at the Bank of Delaware in January. The case remains unsolved. Right. Alright, let's see what we have for... You know, one of the articles that I found while looking this up off to the side had nothing to do with anything, but it was a 17-year-old girl had a knock at a door, and there was a naked guy outside. But for some reason, she went around and opened the door. The person forced their way in, stabbed her 4 times in the stomach, and then ran away. But they did arrest the person. But, you know, that's before, bath salts. Yep, doesn't look like. Yeah, these are a bunch of who killed who. Right there. C murder leads A12. Let's see what we got here. Don't worry, everybody. I'm almost done. Police believe she was abducted and taken to Lower Newcastle County. Her body, bearing stab wounds, was found 2 months later in Silver Run. Huh. And you know what? Her being deaf might have made it easier, because her car, she had while she was at the gas station, somebody slashes her tire, then she drives a little 200 feet back towards work, ka-clunk, ka-clunk, pulls over, and then somebody just sneaks up behind her, grabs her, and, a deaf person probably doesn't know how to scream either. I mean, I'm not trying to be stupid, but, like, they might not make the same sound. You know, she didn't speak very well. It was hard to understand her. I don't know if they have that really shrill screaming sound. Is that reality, or am I just... I don't know. I don't know how that works. Some can and some can't? Okay. I'm not sure what that means. Thanks, Robin. Yep, that was crazy, huh? The cabin one. Oh, that's what you were asking? Okay. I'm not reading the chat that much.
Yesterday, a mystery indeed at the cabin.
Yeah, that's crazy. A lot of crazy cases. This one here is just as crazy as that one. Like, what in the hell happened? Although this one seems like it's apparent she was abducted. But who knows where she was? Was she somewhere else for a while? Then they killed her, wrapped her up in the car. Maybe she bled out somewhere else, wrapped her up, put her in the car. Then they dumped her off the side of the road there. Who the hell knows? Unbelievable. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for me tonight, everybody. Sorry you came in so late there, Robin Frost, but I've been on here since... Hell, what time did I get on here? 8:30. Right? Or was it 9? Was it 9 o'clock? Yeah, 9 o'clock. Yeah, I think they could tell back then. Yeah. Yeah, we'll make our way back through Delaware at some point again. Because right now I've done 2 states. And I've got 48 more to go. And then... I might even do this like twice a week. Because there's so many of them. But I can always put in the updates as well. Yeah, this one was very interesting, though. You should go check this one out, Robin, later. I thought the second most interesting one was probably even that crazy-ass pedophile guy. Like, I wonder if the people that he molested or whatever he did when he was younger came back to haunt him later. I don't really care. I'll bring up Kendrick tomorrow. It's too late. But yeah, you're that guy.
Blah blah whatever. I don't disagree.
Oh, you hear that? Oh my God, it's... Nah, Dottie, I'll just do what I want to do. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sorry to be that guy, but what about Kendrick?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically, I've heard about that they were going to, in the Kendrick Johnson case, they did a third autopsy, plus they also revealed an affidavit that somebody signed where the guy actually talks about how somebody confessed to doing it and that kind of thing. All right. So, by the way, when I'm doing the states, don't send me what you want me to be doing in the states, okay? I'm just going to do what I want to do. Like, they're just random things. Because what you guys usually end up finding are the ones that everybody's talked about 1,000 times over and over. Oh, what about the... Yeah, I know. Yeah. People have done podcasts on those. I want to do the ones where, like I do, I just go down a list and go, what about this one? Oh, cool. Wow, that's crazy. Sometimes they're not really glamorous and big with all kinds of stuff in them. All right. Hey, well, I got to call you out. 400 yards isn't a half mile. So we don't know if she was made to walk to her death carrying a cinder block in her hand. Yep. So basically, that was it. Well, okay. Tell you what, just for Cairo, I'll go through the damn. Even though I wanted to go to bed. I mean, I sent him the article. He could have read it. You know what I mean? So I'll go through it again, and so this is the affidavit somebody sent in. It's almost hard to read because there's so much blackened out. You guys know the Kendrick Johnson case, the guy that was found inside of a rolled up mat in a gym. All right. According to so-and-so, so-and-so was taking steroids at the time and on a roid... Wait, that's page 2. Hold on a second. Here we go. God, why does it keep switching? Oh, I see. It has it on this stupid thing. If you scroll, it changes the image. This is the affidavit who makes this declaration under the oath and penalty of perjury pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1746. My name is so-and-so. I mean, literally, that's their name. So-and-so. Who makes this declaration under... Okay, my name is so-and-so, and I am over the age of 18, probably. I'm not sure why the hell they blacked that out. I am giving the affidavit voluntarily, and I have personal knowledge of the facts stated herein and know them to be true. I met so-and-so in April 2016 on one occasion, was with so-and-so at apartment in so-and-so in such a place when they probably, it does, I think it says he, they don't want to give away if it's a she or he, but he told me that a different person killed Kendrick Johnson. Wait, let's see. Told me that, why would there be 3 syllables there? Huh. According to so-and-so and Kendrick Johnson they were in the gym together at Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia, where an argument between he and Kendrick took place. The argument was about or over a girl, I would think. According to so-and-so, he was taking steroids at the time and out on a roid rage, or the effects of steroids struck Kendrick Johnson in the neck with a 45-pound weight and dumbbell. He stated that so-and-so said to so-and-so that the aforementioned blow may have broken Kendrick Johnson's neck. See, I haven't heard any of the broken neck theories in the autopsies. According to so-and-so, was a witness to the fight and told if he didn't keep quiet and help so-and-so move Kendrick Johnson's body, he would make sure that he paid for it, as in suffer from some form of retaliation. Also told me that so-and-so got in touch with so-and-so after being notified of the fight and Kendrick Johnson's death. So-and-so also told me that so-and-so got in touch with so-and-so, and so-and-so also told me that so-and-so got in touch with another person who in some way facilitated the editing of the high school surveillance videos. That's interesting. By corrupting or deleting some 1 hour and 20 minutes of the original recording shortly thereafter. So-and-so changed the story by saying that it was not so-and-so who was in some way facilitated the editing of the high school surveillance, but that it was someone that was responsible for editing the video you see already. See, that's a case where it looked like video editing was actually done. I remember watching that. It was crazy. So-and-so also told me that after Kendrick Johnson's death, that his organs were removed and newspaper placed in the cavity so as to interfere with any efforts to establish the correct time of death or to otherwise disclose any other injuries. Also told me that the autopsy was falsely documented. So who knows if any of that's true or any of that shit like that. Plus it's hard to make out what's being said because it's all blackened out. All right, Cairo, thanks for being that guy where I had to go over something with just saying so-and-so 1,000 times. Yep. All right, everybody. That's it for the show tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed going over all those cases. I thought it was pretty interesting. Yeah, I have seen the surveillance footage, though. It is pretty odd. It's not... I mean, it literally... Something seems kind of strange about it. It's not like in the Kanika Jenkins case where I literally have watched it all. There's nothing weird. Zero. But of course, everybody started saying that because Kendrick Johnson was before that. So then they go, oh, look, that was edited. Yeah, I don't know if any of those guys had anything to do with it that were in my video that I made a long time ago. But it was interesting how those guys sort of tracked him as he was walking into the gym. I mean, I could play it right here if you want. Let's see. Just before I use my voice. Alright, here it is. This is my video. See, there's Kendrick Johnson. Now watch these two guys. See, it's interesting because, see, look at this guy. He's looking at Kendrick right there coming. And then he's like, ooh, and he darts back over really quick to kind of pretend that he wasn't paying attention. Now look, he's watching Kendrick the whole time as he walks by. The entire time. Both of them. And then he goes in there into the gym. I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. You notice him, oh, and then he jumps back. Okay, like, hey, here comes Kendrick. Hey, what's... And this guy has no clue what the hell they're talking about. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he does. Who knows? See, they're all three looking at Kendrick Johnson right now, though. Now, we don't know if that's who that is or not. Anyways, all right, awesome. Yeah, you should go on YouTube and watch some of that surveillance footage. It's weird. It'll just skip way, you know, I don't know if it's motion activated or if it is. It's crazy that it's missing so much information because there's people moving around a lot. Yeah, so who knows what that is right there. I don't know. I don't think he looked any bigger than any other teenager. Like, when you're in high school, there's all kinds of people. He didn't even look massive. He just looked like a bigger kid that maybe plays football. So, you know, and I actually tracked him walking into the gym, and they didn't really do anything. He just walked into the gym, and Kendrick, the guy wasn't even looking for anybody. The guy in the red there. I saw way more of the footage. I mean, it'd be really weird if something crazy happened after that, because at the time, they weren't doing anything. Well, it didn't stop right there. Are you joking, or that was just a video clip? There's more footage out there. Forget. I'm gonna get out of here. It's turning into a crazy conversation already. That's why I didn't even want to bring it up. Too tired. I'm gonna probably tomorrow. I'll maybe we'll look at it again. Go over some of the surveillance. See if it's out there. Well, don't be. All right. Okay. All right, everybody. Well, that's it. Where are we going to do the flyby? Ah, shit. I'm just going to go where I want to go. Somewhere, again, with the red rocks. Well, maybe I'll go back to... maybe go to Yellowstone. That's not very good. Okay, that's all ready to go. Thank you to the Lanky Tor, Claudia Neubauer, Sooner History, Lori Staggs, Leah Furness, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, Tawanda, and Robin Frost, and Cairo, who is that guy. And then I think he sent, let's see. Hold on a second. I think, yeah, $10 on PayPal from Cairo. But I think I've got a couple Patreon. Let's see. Yeah. So I've got 2 new Patreons, Tracy and Courtney. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Very cool. Very cool. No, you do it on a lot of cases. Here we go. That'd be a cool place to stand and fly the drone from. Well, you shouldn't care about Kendrick's any more than any other case. It's not way better. Hey, thanks, Mag. Hey, let's hear it. I paused it, so we'll keep flying. Oh, it didn't. Must have said something already. The frozen tundra. The frozen grounds of Yosemite National Park. Yeah, the thing is I'm, you know, the Kendrick Johnson's one's always one I think about a lot, but I don't get too involved with all the conspiracy crap that goes on with that one. Could be real, who knows? But I think half of what you guys have heard is wrong. Okay, so I just try to look at what's out there, and that's about it. Good night, freaks! Checking out the nebulae glug. I'm the only one that thinks that's funny, okay? I know I've said it 1,000 times. Alright, thank you guys a lot for supporting the channel and going over all those stories. That last one was really interesting. That's a full-on video for other YouTubers to make for sure. That's for damn sure. But yeah, I mean, I think the Kendrick Johnson case is interesting. It's just not really way more interesting than about 1,000 other cases. It's just one of those ones that I feel like there's something... I've said before, when people have asked, I've said that the Kendrick Johnson case is one that I feel like there is something going on there. Okay, it's nowhere near. It has nothing like the Kenneka Jenkins case is 1,000 miles. I've said it's not even close to the Kendrick Johnson one. A lot of people try to compare them. Oh my God, it's the same. It's not even close. There's no comparison at all. Kendrick Johnson has weird shit that happened in that case. Okay? And so I think there is something else that happened in that one. And for that reason, it's interesting, but there's too much bullshit that goes on in that story. Too many idiots out there. Too many people reading the stupid Reddit shit and all the stuff on all the different places. And it's just, don't bother with that. Just wait for law enforcement to come up with something, and then it'll make a difference. And we'll all know the story at that time. But this isn't one that you can sleuth out and figure it out, you know? That's the thing. That's the reality of it. Okay? We're not going to get to know. If there's really corruption where the kid's father's in the police or the FBI and they're covering crap up, there's no way in hell any of us are going to get to figure it out. It'll have to be somebody high up in there that literally figures it out themselves, and we get an answer. All right? So, everybody, that's it for the show tonight. And I'm trying to get this ending so I do it right, okay? I'm going to try to do this smoother. Let's see if I can do it like that. Yeah, all right. I'll try it again. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Hey, it worked. Yep. Be safe out there, freaks. Oh, and I'm not playing golf tomorrow. Gonna rest that back. All right. Go Blazers. And be safe out there.